What's going on YouTube? Today we're taking a look at two 5G wireless gateways. Now the one on the right is official from T-Mobile. This is their 5G wireless gateway. It's also the exclusive and maybe even elusive 5G router. Not a lot of people can sign up for it. There is a huge waiting list for it. If you don't want to wait and you want 5G wireless coverage right now, run a speed test on your phone. If you get some decent speeds, the NRadio 5G router might be for you. T-Mobile's home internet gets deprioritized to cell phone traffic. The one on the left acts as a cell phone, so you will not get deprioritized. There's a lot of pluses and minuses to both of these devices, but if you want a solution that you don't need to wait for, NRadio is the way to go. Let's go ahead and check out these two devices together, see what they're all about. "5G home internet is here and all of these companies are trying to get into your living room." Well, let's actually reverse that and say that you are trying to get these companies into your living room, because currently there's a wait list for 5G home internet from T-Mobile. Even though you look at your phone and you see you have full 5G coverage, where they're limiting spots for home internet, they're actually limiting bandwidth as well, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But the product from NRadio, which is a 5G router, uses a SIM card. All you have to do is add an extra line to your service, pop in that SIM card, and you'll have 5G home internet or 5G office internet everywhere you go, even if that's on a road trip. So there's a benefit to the NRadio 5G router, and there's also a benefit to just getting home service directly from these companies using their specific hardware. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about both of these products. Now, I'm no stranger to home internet service from T-Mobile. I've tried every single one of them. And thanks to almost 250,000 views for my latest video, you guys are very interested in this product. This isn't going to be a full review, but I'll link to my video down in the description below, as well as a card that's going to pop up, which is going to give you more information than you know what to do with. But today I'm really just going to talk to you about my experience using the NRadio 5G router, and of course using T-Mobile's own home internet gateway as well, because there's a lot of questions from a lot of you. I'm also going to answer some of the most top frequently asked questions from my review of T-Mobile's home internet service. There's a lot of information. I'm not going to make this a long video, so if you have any questions that I didn't go over, ask me down in the comments below. But let's get into this NRadio 5G router versus T-Mobile's home internet gateway video and see what they're both about. First thing I do want to mention is I actually did kick Spectrum to the curb. I got tired with their latest price increase, that I was looking for another viable solution. And when T-Mobile offered their $25 a month internet service, I jumped on it and I said, at the very least, I'm going to use this as a backup to upload all of my videos, because quite honestly, Spectrum was only giving me 20 megabits up, and that is definitely really slow. As someone that's reviewed T-Mobile's home internet service before, I know in my area I got really fast speeds, upwards of 200 megabits up. So for $25 a month or 2 beers here in New York City, I thought this was going to be well worth it. Well, about a week later, I decided T-Mobile's home internet is enough for my needs, so I kicked Spectrum right to the curb, and I'm super happy that I did. Now, that's one thing I do want to mention about T-Mobile's home internet service, guys. If you are able to sign up and you don't see this wait list, buy the service directly from them and don't buy your own router, because really, this is a home internet that's unlimited. You can use as much data as you want, even though T-Mobile is going to deprioritize your data. So I'll get into that in just 1 second. But again, this is home internet intended to be used at your home, so this is going to be unlimited, 100% for sure. Now that brings me to the NRadio gateway here. Once again, all you need to do is insert your T-Mobile or AT&T SIM card. As a T-Mobile subscriber, I tested it out with T-Mobile. If someone wants to send me an AT&T SIM, I'll go ahead and test it for you guys as well. I'm here in New York City at the moment using this device, so that's the speeds I'm going to talk to you about. As always, when it comes to wireless connections and 5G connections, your results may vary, but your speeds on T-Mobile's home internet are going to vary. It's not going to be the same as what's on your phone. So in my other video, I said all you have to do is basically take 1/3 of whatever you're getting on your phone, and that's the speeds you can expect on the T-Mobile home gateway. Now, one of the benefits to using the NRadio or NRadio 5G router with SIM card is that you are going to get the speeds that you see on your phone as long as you're not connected to an ultra capacity band. Do a speed test on your phone, plug in that same SIM card into the NRadio, and you're going to get just about those same speeds. When it comes to the actual speeds, since you're using a wireless infrastructure, your speeds are going to fluctuate. So you're not going to get that guaranteed speed that you would from, say, Spectrum or Fios. You're not going to get that guaranteed just about right speed. I've seen speeds go as high as 520 megabits down, and I've seen them drop as low as about 100, 150 megabits down. Now, that's just the nature of the beast when you choose wireless. That's just the nature of the beast, depending on which tower you're connected to, how busy that tower is, etc., etc. Now, where the NRadio 5G router comes into play and where this might be a better option for a lot of people, number one, if you are on this wait list and you don't want to wait and you see you get good coverage on your cell phone, I would recommend the NRadio 5G router. If you do have an unlimited plan on the SIM card that you insert into this 5G router from NRadio, you are going to get unlimited speeds. You are going to get unlimited data. Now, when I say unlimited speeds, of course, it's going to fluctuate. That's just the nature of the game with wireless once again. But where the NRadio has a leg up over the T-Mobile gateway is that T-Mobile actually sees this device as a cell phone. So unlike the home internet, which deprioritizes your data, thanks to the way they're setting up this plan, thanks to the way that T-Mobile is a cellular carrier first and foremost, people on the NRadio 5G router are not going to get a slowdown when compared to T-Mobile's home internet. So T-Mobile's home internet, once again, deprioritizes your data in terms of high internet usage. They want to prioritize cell phones first and foremost. And that's in the terms of service for home internet. So if you're someone that doesn't want to get deprioritized, if you're someone that wants the fastest speeds possible, NRadio is definitely the way to go. Speaking of speeds, guys, I've been using both of these products side by side and kind of split my network into half and half. And I have noticed faster speeds on T-Mobile's gateway versus the NRadio. I've definitely noticed much faster speeds here, but I've seen more consistent speeds on NRadio. So I've seen speeds that didn't fluctuate as much as they do on T-Mobile's home internet. This basically stayed around the 250 to 320 megabit range. Again, where I am, your results might vary. Your results definitely will vary depending on the tower, depending on what bands you have available. But the NRadio router, I do have to say, was more stable versus the gateway. The gateway, once again, I've seen speeds all the way up to 500, but I've also seen it dip down to about 120, 100 megabits at its absolute lowest. Whereas, again, the NRadio stayed about 250. I never saw speeds dip below 250. So once again, if you're looking for a more stable connection, and again, that's not going to get deprioritized during high internet traffic on that tower, the NRadio 5G router is the way to go. Now, before I show you the settings of the actual router itself, I do want to mention one more thing, and that is if you're the type of person that's worried about support, I don't know how to say it a little bit nicer, but if you're the type of person that's really worries about warranty, and you're the type of person that really wants someone to have your back if something goes wrong, I would wait for T-Mobile because you are going to get support from this device. If this device fails, they will send you a new gateway. If you buy the NRadio 5G router, you know how it goes with support from these third-party manufacturers. You might get it, you might not get it. But after a year, I believe they do offer a 1-year warranty. You're definitely SOL. You are not going to get any support. With that being said, all I had to do was insert my SIM card and everything was just plug and play. The only thing I changed was a TTL setting, and I changed that to 65. And the only reason I changed it to 65 is because initially T-Mobile was seeing my data as hotspot data. And you definitely don't want that when you've used about 80 gigabytes of data so far. I only have about 3 gigs on my hotspot plan. So that definitely wouldn't work out for me. So plug and play is the way to go with both of these devices. T-Mobile's device is a little bit simpler. You just plug it in, it does everything for you. With the NRadio router, you do have to insert the SIM card slot, and that's basically it. I mean, you can change your Wi-Fi settings and all that good stuff. If you know how to do that on your current router, you'll have no problems whatsoever. The last thing I want to talk to you about before I show you the hardware and before I answer some of the most frequently asked questions about T-Mobile's home internet, I have about 34 devices. Now it's 33 devices connected on my home network, and I do not use either one of these as my main router. If you have a small network at home, if you're only connecting, I'd say maybe 5 to 10 devices, both of these work fine. But as you add more and more devices, these just didn't cut it for me. The range was okay. The range on both of these is about the same. You're going to get decent range. So I was able to cover most of my house just by using the NRadio 5G router, and the same goes for the T-Mobile gateway. I connected my TP-Link Deco mesh router system directly to both of these, and no problems, no issues whatsoever. I think that's the way to go. You just use the gateway or you just use the NRadio as your main source of incoming data, and then you kind of split it with your mesh system, or then you split it with your higher end router. All of these all-in-one products I found, even the one that was given to me by Spectrum, just don't really work out for me. Again, I have a lot of devices connected. If you have a smaller network, if you don't really have all that much going on your network, both of these will be fine. Now, speaking of a lot going on in the network, I'm not a gamer, so I'm not going to talk about gaming. I've seen mixed results on my review video. Some people say it works great. Some people says it doesn't. Again, it depends which tower you're connected to. It depends which bands you have coming into your home. So that's going to vary from user to user. It's going to vary depending on your network and depending on congestion. As someone who uses this as a regular internet person, so I have a bunch of TVs playing 4K. I have internet radio going. Basically, all of my life is online, as you'd imagine. No problems using T-Mobile's 5G towers as my main source of data coming in and going out. Everything's been really smooth. Everything's been really fast. Another benefit of the 5G radio is this is not a fixed device. You can take this everywhere you go. So if you're the RV camper type of person, if you actually drive on a truck and you want to keep this plugged in your rig and you just want internet everywhere you go, or maybe you do a lot of Airbnbs and you want to use your own network, you don't want to trust those spying Airbnb Wi-Fi networks, this is a great option for you. Again, T-Mobile thinks this is a cell phone, so you can take this wherever their service is. You can take this anywhere they provide service, and T-Mobile's not going to say boo. With 5G home internet, I have used this in a couple different locations, and people have said they actually plug it in when they go camping, plug it into their RV. But in T-Mobile's home internet service terms of service, they do state it's only intended to be used where you sign up for service. So at any specific time, T-Mobile could flip the switch and decide that they don't want this to be a mobile product. So that's where I give the leg up to the NRadio router. You can take this wherever you want. They're not going to say anything. You can take it to Canada. You can take it to Mexico. As long as your plan supports data in those countries for free. This is a great option, once again, for that mobile lifestyle, for that nomadic type of person. I would definitely recommend the NRadio 5G router.
Checking out the hardware of the 5G router from NRadio. I've already done a full review on T-Mobile's hardware, so I'll leave that link in my description below, as well as a card that's going to pop up. But get your SIM card ready, your nano SIM card, and just plop it into the back of the NRadio device. Taking a look at the back here, you have four gigabit Ethernet ports, so one can be used in conjunction with your current ISP's modem. So if you want to use this as sort of a cellular backup in case your ISP does go down, that's one of the benefits to the NRadio system here. And then you have 3 gigabit ports that you can use to connect all of your other peripherals to. But I've just used this as a wireless solution, so that's what this review is going to be about. Let's do a couple of speed tests. The last speed test I did on my T-Mobile gateway itself, I got 470 down and 110 up. Let's just run another speed test, but trust me when I tell you, I got faster speeds on T-Mobile's gateway than I did with the NRadio, but I got more consistent and more reliable speeds on the NRadio router than I did with T-Mobile's gateway. T-Mobile's gateway again fluctuated from the highest being about 520 to the lowest being about 120-ish. So again, depends on the time of day, it depends on a lot of factors when it comes to wireless 5G coverage. But the NRadio 5G router, once again, I was pretty consistent at about the 250, and I'll switch over and show you those speed tests as well. So the last speed test now I'm getting from T-Mobile is about 320 and about 100 up. So we're about 150 megabits down slower than we were from my last test. Let's go ahead and run one more just for fun before we switch over to the other device. As you can see, my speed stayed consistent about 330. Now it's 1 p.m. on a Monday after Christmas. Most people are probably still home, and my upload is still about the 100-ish type of range. So again, upload remained about the same, whereas download dropped just a little bit. Let's switch over to the NRadio and do a speed test there. As you can see, the speeds are about 220. Now that's the average that I've been getting consistently, is about 250 megabits down. I've seen it as high as 350. And I've also seen the upload go as high as about 80. So again, it's the nature of the beast when it comes to 5G wireless signals. But one thing I will say about the NRadio gateway versus T-Mobile is it's not as finicky in its place location. The T-Mobile gateway, you really have to play around with it to get the best location possible. The NRadio router just about works wherever I place it, and I'm able to get a good speed. So that's one of the benefits to the NRadio router, and both of these devices are connected on band 41. So speaking of connection, let me just show you what the setup page looks like for the NRadio. It's a very simple interface. Again, it shows you all of the key information that you need. So you'll see your internet signal strength right on the top left there. You can see your current upload and download speed, and you can see your how many clients are connected on the right. If you go to the Internet tab, this is where you can choose if you want that cellular backup or if you want cellular only. I do not have an ISP anymore. I kicked Spectrum to the curb, so I was not able to test this. Here's your Wi-Fi settings. So you have basic settings for Wi-Fi, so just anything you'd expect on a basic router. Now going into client, you'll be able to see your devices connected. You'll be able to see the link speed and the traffic as well. Now under advanced, it says advanced, but it's not really a lot that I want to talk about other than the TTL setting. I did change this to 65 so that T-Mobile didn't think I was using a hotspot. So that's one of the settings I would suggest you guys use if you notice it's using your hotspot data. Now the other setting I want to show you is cellular traffic. So I have used 91 gigabytes of traffic so far. So I've definitely been using this router. It's been flawless. I've been streaming. I've been doing a whole bunch of things and I've had no issues using this router from NRadio. So again, 91 gigabytes of traffic is definitely a lot of traffic over the past 4 days. Cellular status, this is going to let you know what band you're connected to. So you can see I am connected to band 41. And if you wanted to go ahead and only connect to 5G radios, you can go ahead and do that. If you only want to connect to 4G, you can go ahead and select that setting as well. I just leave it on auto and let the thing do what it needs to do. Now, if you are taking this around the country and you are using this as a mobile device, go ahead and activate data roaming. This way, you're going to be able to connect to different towers if you guys need to. And if you also need to play around with the APN, you can go ahead and play with those APN settings. That's basically it. There's really no other options that I want to bring to your attention. Those are all the settings. Once again, it's a very easy plug and play type of solution. If you have your own router, just plug it into that LAN port in the back and you're good to go.
Lastly, guys, I want to answer a couple of questions that I always see on my video review for T-Mobile's home internet. Number one, people ask, is it truly unlimited? Yes, if you do sign up for T-Mobile's home internet service, not the light version, you get unlimited data. So no worries about unlimited data. Second question I always get is, can I connect my own router or can I use this as a standalone type of device? You can use this as a standalone device, but as I mentioned earlier on, if you want more advanced features from a more advanced router, all you have to do is plug it into the back of the LAN port and you're actually good to go. I actually recommend it. You can get a mesh network set up quite easily and it's just a much better way to do it. Third question I get all the time is, how about gaming? I do not game, but I've seen people say it works. Some people say it doesn't. Another question I get all the time about T-Mobile's home internet, is it going to work with my cameras and is it going to work with all of my connected devices? Yes, I have not noticed any problems except the fact that you cannot port forward if you have TCP/IP cameras that specifically use port forwarding. That is not going to work, but if you use any type of security camera that has its own app that you connect to its server in order to connect to your cameras, that is going to work perfectly. So all of the Eufy cams, all of your Blink cameras, all of the other cameras in the world that you have to set up using their application, they are going to work perfectly. But if you have TCP/IP cameras that need you to specifically connect to a port in order to access the feed, those are not going to work. So that's just one thing I want to mention. Another question, or more like a comment, people say that I am lying about my speeds. I'm not lying about my speeds. I am not getting commission off of this. There's no reason for me to lie about my speeds. I do a speed test for you guys on camera. I do a speed test. I show you what I'm getting. Again, your speeds will vary. It's a 5G wireless device, so your speeds definitely are not going to be the same as mine. That being said, I've seen people claim to get about a gigabit down. I have no doubt about that. Depending on where you are, depending on congestion, you might be getting a gig down. And I've actually taken this to a remote vacation with an Airbnb, and I actually saw 2 megabits down. So yes, it is not going to work where you are 100% for sure. That's why I say do the 14-day test. If it doesn't work out for you, you didn't lose anything. Maybe you lost $10 if you don't get that 14-day trial back in time. So again, it's a wireless product, just like your phone might get faster speeds than someone else's phone. That's the same principle when it comes to the wireless gateway here. Now that's basically all the questions. If you have any other questions, let me know down in the comments below. I actually decided to kick Spectrum to the curb now that I changed all my cameras to Eufy cam, so I do not have any direct TCP/IP port forwarding cameras. And my Plex server still does not work because you do not have port forwarding. I'm only limited to about 480 when it comes to streaming remotely. I'm actually okay with that. I really use Kodi most of the time to get all of my 4K content. So I'm not too worried about my Plex server anymore. Within my own home network, within the intranet, I do get full 4K. So again, it's just for that remote connection when it comes to Plex. Lastly, as we end out this video, which of these two products do I recommend? Now, I know a lot of you are going to ask me that, and if I haven't covered something you're interested in, ask me down in the comments below. Number one, first and foremost, if you are able to sign up directly, it's a no-brainer. Don't spend the $520 or $550 after tax on your own hardware. That's just a no-brainer, guys. Sign up directly, especially at $25 a month. This is definitely a win. When it jumps up to 50, I would say if you can sign up directly, sign up directly. You get hardware support, you get software support. They'll probably help you set it up if you need it. But if you're on that wait list and your address is not available and you want 5G coverage and you check your phone and you get some fast speeds from T-Mobile or AT&T, I would go for the NRadio 5G router. This is a mobile device. This is a device that you can leave in your camper. This is a device that you can leave in your rig as you drive around the country. This is a device that you can take with you to all of your Airbnbs. Again, if you do have a plan that's on the cheap, if you do have an unlimited plan and T-Mobile's actual gateway is not available, I'd suggest the NRadio 5G router. It's been a solid device for me. It's been something I can recommend. Once again, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Catch you in another video.